Hello, my name is Libby, and today I will be taking a moderate dive into the world of ARK. Although ARK Survival Ascended has already been released, I will mainly be talking about ARK Survival Evolved. ARK is an amazing open-world sandbox game that is filled with ancient creatures and fantastical ones. With limitless boundaries of what can be accomplished, no wonder ARK has taken up a big place in my life. From being able to build the tallest castles to being able to ride a dragon, ARK has it all. In today's moderate deep dive, I will be exploring the world of ARK while breaking down some ideas behind why ARK is as great as it is. ARK is an action-adventure survival game developed by Studio Wildcard. Released in 2017, the game is set in an open-world environment where players must survive on a mysterious island. But you're not alone. There is hundreds of creatures surrounding you. But why are we on this mysterious island? Well, when you first load up into the game, you're greeted by a cutscene that explains a bit of your overarching goal. In ARK, there is a vast and deep, rich lore, but sometimes it's a bit hard to obtain. Unlike other games like Skyrim, where you're literally hand-fed narrative and story throughout the world when talking to NPCs, ARK doesn't have that. The only lore we're truly given is that first cutscene. This can be broken down into what's called passive narrative. Passive narrative is when we are usually not able to interact with what's going on in the scene, almost like a movie. When the beginning cutscene plays, we are told that we might be the chosen one, and that we might have a duty to ascend off the ARK. Well, that doesn't exactly clear up why we are here though. But if we continue to play through the game, collecting, harvesting, taming, and building, we might be able to come across ruins. Was someone else here? If we walk into these ruins, we may often find what's called adventurer notes, or explorer notes. Adventurer notes are also an example of passive narrative, when we don't have any effect on the narrative, but we at least are able to understand more about the strange world we're in. Often, when authors or designers do this type of storytelling, it's because they want all of the audience to understand their interpretation of the story. But back to the gameplay. After the cutscene plays out, you're able to create your own character. For me personally, I love making my character look like me, as I feel more immersed in the story, as if I'm the main character. With games like ARK or Minecraft, the gameplay is often emergent. What that means is that the player can take the story into their own hands and shape it. Well, you might be asking, if you're always going to be trying to ascend off the ARK, how are you changing the story? Which, yes, you might be right, I won't ever be able to change the end result of the game, but no one else will ever have the same journey I do. This is why I love sandbox games. I might go and have my first tame be a T-Rex, while you might tame a dodo first. Or maybe I build a house on the beach, and your first build is near the metal mountain. Player goals also play a major part in emergent gameplay. You can have short-term goals of surviving through the first day, working closer to your long-term goal of defeating Rockwell after you learn about him from the Explorer notes. Player interactivity is crucial to the narrative structure, as players actively piece together the story through exploration and interaction with the environment. The player journey and discoveries shape their understanding of the island's history and purpose. Not to mention, games like this have the most player agency. Player agency is when players make a choice that have an effect on the story. We are creating the story, which also means that we have explicit interactivity within the game. Everyone's journey is different, and it's amazing how different each and everyone's gameplay is going to be. With that, let's talk about the rules of ARK. Well, ARK doesn't have too many rules. It's mainly survival of the fittest gameplay. Throughout the game, you will gain XP by gathering, hunting, crafting, which then unlocks further engram points for you to use for builds and crafting. So for that, one of the more loose rules is that you should stick with what the game feels is the right stage for you. What I mean by this is that you can unlock and craft a parasaur saddle. The game most likely thinks that you are strong enough to tame a parasaur, or a raptor at that point. Further into the game, you will be able to craft a giga saddle, and by then, the game usually thinks you're prepared for a giga, which most of the time is not accurate, but that's a game design choice from the developers. Also, another rule that ARK implements is Dino Levels. When I started playing the game, I didn't understand what those were and why it was so important. When I would tame a level 5 trike and expect to take on a level 50 T-Rex, I was always pretty sad, and it always ended up in me dying, and about an hour of me trying to get my gear back. With that being said, I also want to explain ARK rules for preparing the player of danger. What do I mean by this? Well, if you've played enough, you probably know what this sound is. That's right, most dinosaurs give off a warning when they come at you. This is a definition of feedback. Just like hitting something and you getting items, or punching a tree and you hear your player saying ow, dinos too give off feedback when they're about to pounce. With that being said, I also want to take a dive into what's beyond the ARK. ARK's community is one of the richest that I have experienced in a long time. Many times, the developers know that players will use the game to build and explore, but oftentimes developers can never know what the game communities can do. The modding scene for ARK is vast and amazingly rich. I love seeing all the cool things people create. One thing that I love about the developers is they too are very entwined with the community, and when modders do really well, often they implement it into the game. Not to mention, the biggest part of the community, multiplayer. I personally stick with player versus environment instead of player versus player because I care way too much about my dinosaurs to see them get hurt. But from playing with my boyfriend and him introducing me to this game, I have had so much fun and created so many memories. With all that being said, ARK is an amazing game. The developers have hit some bumps in the roads here and there, but I am still here to support them. They have created such an immersive game from the ground up and are thriving. With future plans on the horizon and new improved parts of the game within ARK Ascended, I am so excited to see what's next. Anyways, if you've made it this far or just stayed for about 5 seconds, I do appreciate you. I also hope I get a good grade on this midterm. I'll see you in the next one.